What is good, everybody? Boxing community, family. Renee Box Young going live once again. We're going to talk a little bit about, as the thumbnail says, I don't know if you guys read the thumbnail, but it's, Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez post-fight. I also want to talk a little bit about the co-main event also, you know what I'm saying? Co-main event. I want to talk a little bit about that. Obviously, as you guys know, we got Reggie Owens and we got Kurtis Anderson, the historian in the building. I hope everybody is fine. I hope everybody's doing great. Those who will be jumping in the building, thank you guys so much, man. And, I love to take advantage of time, especially with the guests, you know what I'm saying? So I really want to get to it. Reggie Owens, how you doing, bro?
Oh, doing great, man. Doing great. What's up, OG Kurt?
Hey, Reg, what's going on with you?
How you doing, Kurt? Everything good?
Everything good, man. Can't complain. Just relaxing on this Sunday afternoon.
It's a nice Sunday, man. It's quite tranquil. I try to take, as far as with Sundays, generally speaking, I try to do, just try to wind down as much as I can when I have free time. But, Sundays, I try to do it like that, especially after fight night, especially after a wonderful night of boxing like we had last night. Slept late, you know what I mean? And, just took this day, did a couple things in the morning and then just came home and just try to, really unwind. And I think, fitting in some box talk is just wonderful, And so how's your Sunday going, Reggie? Everything good today?
Yeah, it's perfect, man.
Kurt, also nice Sunday afternoon over there, huh?
Yeah, the wife is in Denver, Colorado, and so I've just been swinging off the chandeliers, and it was a nice boxing day because he had the card on the zone yesterday, and leading to the big fight last night with Lomachenko and Lopez, and Sunday football, and watching kung fu movies and eating and just sitting on my living room couch, just taking it easy.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely awesome. G5 jumping in the building. Bruce goes. Everybody who's jumping in the building, thank you guys so much. I'm not sure if, I posted this since earlier in the week. I got in contact with Reggie and Kurtis, to see if we can go live today, talk a little bit post fight talk. And I'm not sure if you guys were able to see it on my channel. Matter of fact, Dalia, salute to the queen. We chopped it up a little bit earlier today. And she talked about, unfortunately in channels, man, I don't know what's going on with the platforms, but they ain't sending out notifications. So, so I don't remember if I'm sure I did because I scheduled it on StreamYard platform, and usually it automatically schedules and the thumbnail is in the YouTube channel. So I'm not sure if mine was. I didn't really check. I've been so busy this weekend, but hopefully you guys saw it. And so let's get into it, man. We're going to talk about, first and foremost, I want to talk about, with you guys, Salcedo and Barbosa. Matter of fact, Kurtis Anderson called it, man. He saw it a mile away. Kurtis saw it a mile away, how this fight was going to be, just a wonderful fight, man. Syndicate J, thanks so much for jumping in the building, family. Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome, man. Love you guys, definitely. So I want to talk first and foremost about that, Salcedo and Barbosa. First and foremost, Reggie, what were your first thoughts on this fight? What's your reaction to the Salcedo and Barbosa fight?
Man, classic fight, man. That was an excellent fight, man. Real entertaining. Boxing fans and boxing casual fan type of fight, man. These guys left nothing unturned going into that fight. They fought with tremendous heart, tremendous will. They both battled for what was at stake going into this fight. And seeing Salcedo come out there early, Salcedo got to action very early in this fight. And he rocked Barbosa, hurting Barbosa early in the fight. Barbosa having to kind of overcome weathering that storm, protecting himself, and he began to move around very well. He moved very well. That lateral movement began to kind of ease things out for him, and him being able to maintain a little bit of distance with that movement and able to get that jab. Started to establish that jab, which ended up being a tool that really, really helped him going into this fight, and being able to fight while moving backwards and moving laterally as well. And both of them start landing these big shots on each other. I was like swearing somebody was gonna get knocked out in that fight. So it showed these two dudes had very, very strong chins, very solid fighters. They let their hands go throughout that fight. I don't think neither one of them took a round, except I remember round 7, I'll say, I don't know if Barbosa looked a little gassed. He may have taken off that round, but Salcedo didn't. Salcido kept coming at him. He would end up catching his win in the 8th round and continued on. And these rounds are so damn close. So for a judge, this is a real hard fight for a judge to really go out there and score. Very, very hard for a judge to score a fight like that, being how close these damn rounds were. It was almost to a point to where I wish I didn't have to find a winner. And I don't think you should have to find a winner in the round, especially when fighters are exchanging like this. It's hard to find something clear. But I end up seeing this going Barboza's way, slightly edging Barboza a little bit in this fight. But this is a tremendous fight right here, and they gutted it out. And also, I like the fact that the Nevada Commission ends up showing a replay to where they can go against seeing a knockdown. If a referee misses something, they go back, review it, and now they can award the fighter, who earned the knockdown. The knockdown, if there's a knockdown, they can review it and be like, oh, no, it's not a knockdown. So I like that replay thing because they need to add a whole new wrinkles within the sport. They need to utilize technology to kind of advance this fight game and make it to where fighters who are dedicating themselves aren't being cheated out of things. And also, hopefully towards the end we speak about the judge on his cell phone out there in that UK card. But that's all I got on Salcido and them.
Yeah, what you mentioned a little bit a moment ago, I thought the same. When they were starting to fight, I mean, beautiful, beautiful exchanges. I mean, I was enjoying every second, every minute of that fight, man. And what surprised me is that there was no knockouts. I mean, I didn't think it was going to go the 10 rounds. If I remember correctly, it was 10-round fight. And I thought, man, someone's going to go down and go down hard, and just like you said, it was first ruled a slip when Barboza went down. And it was nice. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Timothy Bradley. I don't know if it was Andre Ward or Timothy Bradley. Right when he saw it, he said it was a knockdown. So, he judged it right as far as that, So, but I thought someone was going to go down and stay down. I mean, because Barboza was throwing some hard shots, man. Salcedo, man, I think it was a wonderful fight, very action-packed. I just think that Salcedo, man, and if I'm not mistaken, Andre Ward said something along the lines, and I was thinking it rounds earlier. I was thinking Salcedo got to move his head around, man. He needs to really work on a little bit more defense because I think Andre Ward stated that later in the fight, and he said, or I don't know if it was Timothy Bradley or Andre Ward, but mentioned that people that fight like that in that style, Salcedo, just getting punched time and time again, not moving his head around much. Just, those types of fighters don't really last long in their careers. You know what I'm saying? They don't have very extensive or long careers. I mean, obviously, historically speaking, yes. I mean, fighters have fought so many fights fighting like that. But, I was kind of getting a little frustrated with Salcedo thinking, dude, you got to move your head around, bro. I mean, the defense, man, you're getting knocked up. And Salcedo was obviously exchanging too. But, in the long run of the fight, Barboza was just giving amazing exchanges, man. 1, 2, 3, straight 1, 2, 3s down the pipe, you know what I mean? Constantly throughout the fight. And they were just landing, left, right, boom, boom, beautiful hooks, man, just right on the chin by Barboza, and then going to the body shots. Man, the sound of those shots, I was thinking somebody's going to get knocked out. And there were no knockouts. I mean, it was just all the way to round 10. I mean, amazing action-packed fight. What did you think about the fight, Kurt?
Well, I saw this fight coming a mile away, like you said, because I know Salcedo, I know Barboza. Sometimes you can have all the strategy in the world, but when you fight a certain guy, it turns into a war. They could fight 10 times and it go just like it did last night. Like Ward and Gaddy. That what makes boxing so beautiful. You could be like, well, I want you to box and I want you to fight him on the outside. But when that bell ring and alarm goes off and here we go again, so I knew it was going to be a knockout, drag out, even though nobody didn't get knocked out. I knew it was going to be an action fight. They was going back and forth, give and take. And the thing about boxing is, the ebb and flows, the back and forth, the changing momentum. That's why I love boxing so much, because early on, Salcedo, then Barboza, then Salcedo. The difference is Salcedo's lack of defense, because he was in a terrific fight against Maurice Hooker. It seemed like every time Salcedo fights is a barn burner because he's a good offensive fighter, but lacks defense. So you can hit him, and he's going to hit you. So the fight went just like I thought it would be. The more determined fighter will win, and Barbosa executed better than Salcedo down the stretch. Great, very good fight, just like Baranchik Zapata. Those kind of fights I could see coming a mile away, and Salcedo will be all right if he tightens up on his defense, because he just get hit a little bit too much, and that style is not going to last. But nonetheless, good fight. I enjoyed it. I knew it was going to be like that.
Yeah, and like I said, Kurt, just to reiterate that, Kurt saw it a mile away, before the fight, days before the fight, he was talking about constantly mentioning that. I remember him mentioning that constantly. And a matter of fact, on last Friday, I went live, just to get my final thoughts on the fight between, my last thoughts on, Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez. And, I remember Kurtis Anderson clearly putting that there in the chat. Also, he was tuning in, and, him putting that, Barbosa and Saucedo is going to be, really good fight. So definitely was. They both showed up and showed out. What was that, 140? Did they fight at 140?
140. 140.
Now, and that was that for what belt was it?
I think it was some kind of regional belt. They got so many, but it's mainly to put the fighter who won in line for a title shot.
Okay. At 140. All right. So Reggie Owens, what do you think? What do you think is next for Barbosa? I mean, he's a hard hitter, and not only a hard hitter, but what I liked about Barbosa, he hits hard and he boxes very well, and he boxes inside on the inside. You know what I mean? And I really like Barbosa's style. He hits hard too. I mean, wow, that really. And I'm surprised, man. Hats off to both fighters. Hats off to Saucedo, just receiving so much punishment, man. I mean, how did you not go down on those body shots? When I heard, me from experience, man, I mean, I sparred, as you guys know, I sparred down here in Mexico quite a bit, when I was training and boxing here just for fun, and as a matter of fact, I would constantly spar with the guy who, the gym trainer there, who trained before with Juan Manuel Marquez years ago. He knew him personally there from a gym down in DF, Mexico City. And, I would train, and this gym guy told me, the trainer, he said, you know what, the guy you're sparring, the guy that you're constantly, sparring with there, he could be easily an amateur. He has amateur skills, as far as, amateur fighting, but this kid didn't go to, he didn't go all the way to, all the way in the career. He just, he was a school kid, going to school and stuff, and he just did it for fun, but very, very dedicated kid in the sport of boxing. But, I just went there for training. The reason why I say all this is because, I know how it is when you get hit with, at the body, and the body is where it really hurts, man. And if you don't have your abs, if you don't have your, your physical conditioning down well, I'm not saying that Salcedo didn't, obviously not. I mean, that's why he lasted so long. But body shots hurt, man. So that's my point in saying all this. Body shots hurt. And when I watch a fight, man, I mean, I put myself in these guys' shoes, and I feel those shots, man. It's like, man, and Barbosa, man, those body shots he was landing, I don't know how Salcedo continued fighting like that. I don't know how. Those hooks, man, around the guard to the body, ouch. So, oh my gosh, hats off to both these warriors. Reggie Owens, what do you think? What do you think's a good competition, or who do you think he should fight next? As far as Barbosa and at 140.
He got to go for a champion. I think I've seen him with a belt, so I don't know, because I don't know these belts no more. I know I've seen him walking out with a belt.
Yeah, me neither.
Care less about the belts, but hopefully he puts himself in position to fight one of these champions, and these champions have to fight, man. But I think 140 is looking to schedule themselves for unifications. I think he should be next in line after what is that? Ramirez and Taylor getting there. I think he should be the next guy up, man. And him and Taylor's style match up very well. And I say that because I favor Taylor going into that Ramirez fight. But then up to what I'm seeing in boxing is I can't start underestimating folks, man. I can't underestimate folks. But I favor Taylor in there, but who knows? He may end up facing Ramirez. But I think either one of them, Barbosa's style matches up well with him. But he still has to get in the gym and improve on some things.
Yes. Something you just mentioned right now, Reggie, I feel the same. Like the more I see fighting now, it seems like the less I I'm trying not to underestimate opponents anymore. People who are expected to come, show up and show out and just dominate or win or whatever. I'm going to try to stop doing that and I don't think I really have done it too much before. I think I have a few times, but I got to stop underestimating these underdogs. Because you know what I'm saying? I mean, now we just don't know. It's just really hard. And that's what I love about the sport of boxing now, because, we're seeing it more and more. We're seeing competition. We're seeing underdogs, take out, champions. We're seeing, expected, high level fighters not perform as well as we thought, et cetera, et cetera. It's just such an amazing thing that we're seeing lately in the sport of boxing. Kurtis, what do you think should be next for Barbosa?
I feel he should fight Jose Pedraza. That's a good fight for both men to get themselves back in title contention, because you're going to have Taylor and Ramirez fighting, because what's his name? Jack Catterall. He said no the first time, but he decided to take step aside money. So I'm hearing that they already started negotiations, and they're looking for February or March to unify the titles. So whoever wins that fight, the winner of Pedraza and Barbosa will probably get the title shot. Pedraza is still there, very experienced. Barbosa, good action fighter. So that's a good fight. I believe that belt was what belt was that? They said,
I really don't know, man.
Yeah, they said it's one of those regional titles, Americas or
Right.
Continental or Diamond, somewhere around them lines. But I would say Pedraza will be a good fight for Barbosa next time out, and then the winner will get a title shot.
Yeah, let's definitely keep an eye on Barbosa, man. And Saucedo. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Saucedo, he was undefeated, right?
No, he got knocked out by Hooker, and he fought another guy, Lenny Z, in a terrific fight. But no, he got knocked out by Hooker. They was going back and forth. Saucedo in a terrific fight. He just need to tweak his defense, and he'll be all right.
If I'm not mistaken, it's the other way around, right? Barbosa's undefeated, isn't he?
Yeah, Barbosa is undefeated, and Saucedo lost fight either too.
Right. So yeah, and the thing here is, Barbosa, he's a tough guy, man. He's a tough guy. He got knocked down. It was more like a flash knockdown. He wasn't really phased at all. And Saucedo, he's very offensive, throws a lot of punches, and Barbosa, toughed it up and kept going, stayed on the game, stayed on his. And the thing here is that what caught my attention wasn't in round one, and sometimes Barbosa would switch to southpaw, and he would fight orthodox also. So he has skills, he has tools, and I think he's very promising in the junior, I think junior lightweight division, 140 pounds. So good stuff. Let's keep an eye on Saucedo, man. Anything else you want to say, Reggie, about this fight?
No, that's all I had on this fight.
Right on, Kurtis. Anything else?
Well, it's junior welterweight, but it was a good fight. Like I thought it would be, and they gave us a thrill. It was kind of leading up to the big fight. So I like to see undercard fights that turn out to be better than the main event or just as good, because it just whets your appetite for the big one that's coming up next. So.
Definitely, man. We got G5 in the building. We got Mahari Nation Sports Podcast also is in the building. Thank you so much, family. Thank you so much, G5. Thank you so much. Brusco's is also in the building, man. Thanks so much. The Queen Dahlia is in the building also. We got Will McClotty. Thanks so much, man. Be More, stand up. Salute to Be More, man. Definitely, man. Thank you guys so much for jumping up on in here. So I think we're going to spend most of our time this show. We're talking about the post-fight, man, of Lomachenko and Teofimo. Okay, Teofimo. So now, lots of platforms already talked about it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure next week everybody's going to continue to be talking about it, and weeks to come and months to come. There's the whole buildup of this fight, man. There are lots of things to say, as far as the buildup of the fight. There's one thing that I talked about. It was on Friday, specifically on Friday. I think I also did on Instagram. I went live on Instagram the other day. try to do something new, man. I really don't do it. It was my first time I went live on Instagram. Sorry for the lag. Sorry for the camera lag. I mean, it recorded well as far as the audio when I went Instagram live, but as far as the camera, it wasn't the best. But you know, and I think I also mentioned it there on my Instagram live. But on Friday, I definitely did. I talked about you know, and the whole buildup of this fight. And as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, Teofimo Lopez also Jr., he talked about it and he mentioned it, something along the lines of this, that, you know, that Teofimo Lopez, he had more tools in his arsenal and skills, you know, up his sleeve that he hasn't showed the world yet. You know what I'm saying? And we also hear Teofimo Sr. also talked about it, I think, in the Blood, Sweat, and Tears documentary. You know, his coach also mentioned something along those lines. He said, you know, my son has a lot to show, you know, that he hasn't shown yet. And a lot of times we think, and I have thought it too, you know, and that was a lot of comments, a lot of, you know, input concerning, you know, Teofimo Lopez on the lead up to this fight of Lomachenko, that he was green, that, you know what, Teofimo is not ready. You know, he's too young, blah, blah, blah. Right. And I understand, because it was logical to think that. It was definitely logical and coherent to think those things. You know, a lot of people said, you know what, this is a step up, but big step up for Lomachenko. I'm sorry, for Teofimo Lopez, a step up to somebody like Lomachenko. He's probably not ready. Maybe his dad's pressuring him, et cetera, you know, and those were all logical, you know, thoughts and opinions. I mean, definitely. But the thing is here is what caught my attention, the whole buildup of the fight was precisely that I think that, and I was saying it on Friday specifically, I think just to reiterate, I think I did say it in my IG live last week too. I was saying that you know, this kid, I'm sure it looks like he has tools under his sleeve. You know, he has tools in his toolbox that he hasn't portrayed yet in the ring or executed in the ring yet, just for the fact that, you know, his opponents, the type of opponents he has had, hadn't given him the opportunity to put that stuff out in the ring, you know, in his game plan and his boxing, et cetera, et cetera. We all know that Teofimo could box. I mean, that's something I said time and time again. Also, I'm sure you guys have also that, you know, Teofimo can box, but he hasn't really needed to box too much because he's been taking out his opponents in a KO fashion, in an impressive fashion. So, you know, and that's exactly what we saw on Saturday night, you know, yesterday. You know, it was just very interesting on how this fight went out. And before I continue, Reggie Owens, generally speaking, what did you think of the fight, man? Were you impressed? Were you surprised? Just go ahead and throw it out there.
Hey, I got to give that kid Teo all the credit in the world for what he did yesterday, man. He really went out there. It wasn't like he went out there and just put an ass whooping on Lomachenko. He nullified Lomachenko is what he did. Lomachenko really couldn't get himself established at all in the early stages of that fight. He didn't start coming on until the back end of the fight. Teo worked out a jab, in which I didn't know he had a jab like that. That was a solid jab that Teofimo had on him. Solid jab, that right hand. He didn't throw too many hooks with the right hands. I've seen that right hand coming straight down the line. It had a lot of speed on it. Every punch he threw it with a meaning on it. Nothing was lazy out there, and that's something him and his father worked on. And he has to keep his father on the team. I know with the conflict they had going into it, that was kind of the highlight of the storyline behind it. But regardless of whatever their issues is, they have to work through that shit because they're a perfect team. The father studied Lomachenko. He knew what he had to come in here with. And we seen a new ripple in the game of Teofimo Lopez. And that was him going in here and doing boxing. I think if Teofimo would have came out there being in that Teofimo style that we seen before, Lomachenko would have washed through him. I think that would have been the style Lomachenko would have had great success against Teofimo, but Teofimo coming out in that boxing style, in my opinion, is what changed everything. Just working that jab out there kind of caught Lomachenko off guard. It had Lomachenko doing a whole lot of moving around the ring that you never seen. Him working down to the body of Lomachenko was very effective early within the fight. He tagged the body very effectively, digging in real tough punches. But it also showed how tough Loma was to take some of those shots. He took some of Teofimo's straight shots. He caught some of them hooks off the jaw, got hit with some uppercuts, took the punch as well. But it still kept Lomachenko at bay. Teofimo kept Lomachenko at bay throughout this fight. And I thought Lomachenko moved the wrong way a lot through the fight because early in my breakdown, I was stating that there's a way, it's a side you step to kind of throw off the offense for Teofimo, and that's stepping over to his right. Lomachenko would have did that earlier on. He started to do it in the later stages of that fight where he's able to get that right hand jab over the top, coming on the outs, rounding it around the shoulder, getting it targeting the eye over the jaw by him stepping over to the right. But Teofimo also took that away to where he really couldn't establish moving over to his right. But later in the fight, he was able to work his way off, and that was to stay away from the ropes, kind of leave a little bit of a gap, being in the center to be able to step your way around to where there's more ground before Teofimo can cut you off and you're against the ropes. So that's where he started having that late success. But ultimately, Teo did everything to nullify a lot of the shit that we know Lomachenko for being for. But it was great work, man. I just didn't like the scorecards, but regardless of those scorecards, and I know those are things being pointed out, but it points back to that thing I want to talk about with the judges. But Teofimo did his damn thing. But Teofimo has to tune up on defense, because I seen, and the one thing I want to point out is about also in my breakdown of the fight is he's known for punching. I wanted to see if Teofimo can take a punch. Teofimo doesn't react well when he's getting hit, so he has to tune up on defense, because he's going to start moving now into this realm against the other youthful fighters who have the same amount of speed and who can also get to him and are about the same size as him. So he has to really tune up on defense on top of that display of boxing that he has in the tool bags. But that's all I got.
Yeah, just in case you see my camera going off and on, I'm just kind of testing the camera there. Yeah, Reggie, I was really, I don't know if the word is surprised. I think so. That Teofimo was, it's exactly what Reggie just mentioned a moment ago, that he was nullifying. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. We got to emphasize this. He was nullifying Lomachenko and his boxing. I mean, you know, Lomachenko, I don't really know. I mean, we can just we just know from, you know, perspective, from our point of view, points of views when we saw the fight last night. You know what I'm saying? We can say one thing and another. And I'm sure, I mean, you know, obviously the trainer, they knew, Lomachenko and his team knew what the game plan was, obviously. But from the outside looking in, it kind of looked like Lomachenko was trying to take, you know, Teofimo and trying to tire him out and just try to avoid, you know, and just use his footwork. I mean, for crying out loud, man, I was surprised to see how many shots did Teofimo land from round 1 to 6, like 8 shots in each round. You guys remember that? You remember, Kurtis or Reggie? How many shots average was Lomachenko landing?
Early on, he ain't really land too much of nothing.
You remember, Kurt?
Yeah, Lomachenko was like retreating, man. It was very few. I mean, like, you know, it was almost, I mean, like
6 shots, like 6 hits a round.
Yeah,
man.
5. Yeah. If that, yeah, absolutely. Because you know, going to the body, he was making Lomachenko retreat, and he didn't know what to do. You know, I was very surprised how inept he was dealing with Teo's speed and athleticism. I know it would give him trouble, but I didn't know it gave him that much trouble. The only way he can win is to sell out, which he did in the second half of the fight.
And that's what surprised me. You know, I guess that's the word, surprise. I mean, I was taken aback, because you go back to Lomachenko's short professional career, obviously, you don't see. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, so I got to emphasize this, and it comes off of what Reggie was saying. Teofimo was nullifying Lomachenko and his boxing. That speaks strides, ladies and gentlemen. That speaks volumes, because how can it be Lomachenko averages a lot more landing in his other fights? So, you know, I mean, how can it be, man, that Lomachenko from round 1 to 6? I mean, you guys, ladies and gentlemen, we got to understand this, the ramifications. I mean, what this means. I mean, what Teofimo did, and I got to go back to what I was saying last week before in the whole buildup of the fight. You know, shouts out to our guy Blue Blood. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't really have the time to break it down because, you know, there were several people on the panel. I didn't want to take much time out. But in the buildup of the fight, man, I've been saying it last week on my channel that, you know, Teo has tools that he hasn't shown the world, and he definitely brought them out Saturday night. And we got to give him his round of applause. You know, we definitely got to, you know, but before I continue this, man, Kurtis, what's your general input? I'm going to be back. I got to go do something real fast. What, 2 minutes? Go ahead, Kurtis, and just lay it all out there. What did you think about the fight, man?
Well, I picked Lomachenko, but remember when I was on Blue Blood, I said Lomachenko by decision, but I don't feel good about the pick.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because I could see Teo winning easy, but there's always a fight. And I said this before, that lead, when a guy's in a super fight, I go back in his career and I look at 2 or 3 fights before that, and I'll study him and I'll be like, let me see how he's going to do against the fighter he's fighting next week, the style. When I saw that Jorge Linares fight, I knew that Lomachenko will have trouble with athletic fighters. He caught Linares at the right time because Linares has been knocked out like 3 or 4 times, but he was an athletic, long fighter, and that knockdown was no fluke. It was just, you know, things come to fruition in strange ways. Boxing will show you, but you have to look deep. And Linares was having success. I mean, Lomachenko was up by 1 round by the 8th or 9th round. Lomachenko got the knockout because he snuck the body shot, you know, behind the arm, under the arm. And I said he's going to have trouble when he fights somebody that has athleticism and perpetual and rhythmic motion. And that's what happened. He didn't know what to do with Teo, you know, until the second half of the fight. You know, some inexperienced things showed up with Teo. He's very easy to hit. I was a little bit surprised and worried when he was getting hit by Lomachenko. I believe he got hurt in round 8. That kind of surprised me too. So he's going to have to fix that, because when he gets in the ring with an athletic fighter like his, they're going to offset each other. Then, you know, you're going to see who executes the best. You know, it could be Haney, it could be Garcia. Now, I want to see how Teo reacts to somebody with rhythmic and perpetual motion. And I've been saying Lomachenko is a system fighter. If you really look at it, he fights like an amateur, but he just add some more things to it. You know, he's very good at that system because it's been implemented and he's been taught that through his father. You know, and he brought it to the pro ranks, but it has weaknesses. And the reason he couldn't slide to the right and give angles because that left hook was there for Teo. So he couldn't like really slide to the right like he wanted to. Teo neutralized Lomachenko. He took a lot of that away, and he put Lomachenko on the back foot. And like I said, it has nothing to do with race. It's a culture thing with Eastern European fighters. We've seen what happened. Ward became aggressive in the second fight with Kovalev. We've seen what happened when Leader Alvarez was aggressive. We've seen what happened when Canelo was aggressive with Golovkin in the second fight. And we've seen what happened when Salido and Teo was aggressive. So you put the Eastern European fighters on the back foot so they can't utilize the angles, because that's how they like to fight. And you know, it was a very good fight, you know, because Teo showed you more tools. It was smart for him to throw that uppercut. That uppercut was keeping Lomachenko honest, and he was just missing it because Lomachenko was getting his head off the line, which was smart. But Teo showed up and showed out, so congratulations to him. What you think, Reg? You back, Renee? If not, then I'll just pass it.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, definitely, man. And now when like I said, man, I mean, I was definitely, I mean, I was going for Teo, but I was still 50-50 in the whole, you know, buildup of the fight. And the narrative with everybody was that, including me, I mean, and like I said, it's because of coherent, you know, analysis that the boxing community was giving, which is great, you know what I'm saying? And our perspective, you know, concerning both styles. And most people were saying, obviously, and I was in it, that Teofimo was going to knock out Lomachenko. You know, and the only way that Lomachenko was going to win was by boxing out Teofimo. And it was just totally the other way around. I mean, it was totally the other way around. And I repeat, I mean, it just speaks volumes how Teofimo nullified and stalled Lomachenko for most of the fight. Now, what was your impression, Kurtis? We'll go back to you, and then we'll go back to Reggie. Kurtis, what was your impression on when Lomachenko started to box like he traditionally does? He was landing wonderfully against Teofimo. He was landing nicely, and I was thinking, this is going to turn around. This is going to turn around round 7 or what have you, right? Round 8 and a few rounds. Lomachenko started gassing up. He started, doing his traditional things, and he was landing beautifully, whiplashing Teofimo's, head back. Boom. What was your impression on that, Kurtis? And what were you thinking was going to happen after that?
That show, I wanted to see, there's adversity in every fight. When he started coming on, I said, okay, Teo, now you got to show me what you made of, because you're getting hit. Either you're going to sink or swim. And he swam because Lomachenko had no choice but to sell out. And Teo, to my surprise, he got to move his head. His hands are down low. That's my criticism of Teo. Don't, like Bradley said, those punches won't land if you keep your hand, your hands up, because they were straight. They was right down the middle. And all he had to do is go to the high guard, but he got hit, and he got hurt in the 8th, because he held on, which I was surprised. But in boxing, there's always a moment of uncertainty that somebody's going to have a wrinkle that we wouldn't expect. And with Teo outboxing him and going to the body and a good body attack, and then the second half of the fight, which made the fight even more exciting, because Lomachenko was like, I have no choice. I have to, get inside. And he had more success inside than I thought. I thought that would be Teo's game, but if he would have did that earlier, you really would have seen a barn burner, and he would have been effective against Teofimo. But Teofimo, held court, and in 12th round, he hurt Lomachenko. It was a very good fight, but Lomachenko has, he has weaknesses. He has flaws. He's not the fighter that the media said he was. He was. And especially in that division, they're calling him the Matrix and all that. I done seen fighters like Salvador Sanchez and Rafael Gomez and, Manny Pacquiao, Juan Manuel Marquez and Pernell Whitaker, Duran and Mosley. Those guys would have beat the hell out of Lomachenko. And he was a media creation. And, it's not Lomachenko's fault. But he didn't denounce it either. He started reading his own press clippings. He's better than Mayweather, best fighter since Ali. I'm like, are you serious? And Teo showed you he wasn't, and them body shots, he didn't like them body shots. He did not like those body shots. So it was a good fight, but Lomachenko can't beat fighters who has fluidity and perpetual motion.
Now, Reggie, what did you think? And I want to get to a couple more questions. And we're talking about, Lomachenko. What as far as when he started, using more offense. I mean, as it is, the first 6 rounds, I was like, Lomachenko, what are you doing, bro? What is your game plan? It looks like your game plan is taking like Leo Santa Cruz has been saying time and time again, how he's gonna beat Tank Davis and taking him into deep waters. It looked like Lomachenko was trying to do that, take Teofimo into deep waters, letting Teofimo tire out to a certain extent, and then he would execute, offense. But Reggie, what was your first reaction when Lomachenko started committing offense, started, going on the inside, going with those angles, whiplashing Teofimo's head back? What were you thinking at that point, Reggie?
My reaction at that point, I said, okay, here go my prediction. It's about to come up. He's about to go in here. He's going to stop this kid. That's what I started thinking, because the effects of his punches, and that's the one thing, looking at it, Teo going to have to tune up something when it comes. He to me, really, I don't know how well his chin is. I don't know how well he can take a punch. I mean, seeing Loma being a smaller guy, not the biggest puncher in that division, but Loma does, like I said, Loma is a brutal puncher. But to see if Loma's doing that to his head, whipping him like that, you can see the expressions on his face. He doesn't like to be, he's not used to being hit. He's going to have to really get in tune with a better defense. Moving his head, there's no way he should have been getting hit with those jabs as crisp as they start to come on later in that fight. Strategy-wise, I don't know if Loma and them wanted to take the dude deep, because to take a person deep, you got to be putting pressure on him. There was no pressure coming from Loma, so I don't know if I can consider that a strategy. I just think he faced more based on whatever they game plan. It's not what they were seeing in the ring, and he was having a longer time of trying to figure him out. Because in the first round, I'm like, okay, Loma collecting data. But then I'm like, damn, he didn't throw not one punch in this round. Then coming in the second round, I'm like, oh, he's going to turn on. Here he is giving more side-to-side movement. He's stepping in, kind of do that little step-in feint like he's going to throw in something just to see what reaction he get. Is there a punch coming behind it? No punches come behind it. But even in that round, he landed the 3 punches that were the most effective punches in that round. But he just didn't give anything, because it's like stated, all Teofimo really did was nullify. Teofimo missed a lot of shots in this fight. Loma blocked a lot of shots. He made him miss a lot of shots. Now, if he could have committed earlier on to taking someone deep, you got to put pressure on him. And he didn't. Teofimo had nothing to worry about in those early phases. He just banked all those rounds in his pocket. And from rounds 1 through 7, I gave him all to Teofimo. So he had way too much banked in there. And Loma had to start turning up. He just had to say, F it, let me fight this kid. I'm not worried about the power. Like I stated, I don't think of Teofimo being able to knock guys out going up into this level. And I was never worried about knockout. I thought Loma was going to probably stop him. So I started to think that, seeing the way he reacted to these punches, he was getting hit with some pretty solid shots. Loma go off and throwing on some combinations, landing on him very well, and started pressuring back and Teofimo up. Teofimo dug deep at moments in when he was in those situations, and started to fight his way back as well. But he just couldn't land nothing clean. Loma just wasn't hitting in the spots, and he just ran out of too much. He just ran out of time. He kicked in the gear way too late going into this fight. So it was nothing that he was going to be able to do as far as the amount of time he left himself with. He left himself with too short of a gap to try to close things up, and too short of a gap to start working with. But I think if he would have turned up maybe in round 4 or 5, he probably could have worked with something. But I just think he kicked in the gear way too late. In a rematch, maybe Loma turns on much earlier. I'd like to see a rematch maybe down the line, but Teofimo got bigger things out here, so he's going to bypass it. Bob Arum screwed Lomachenko by that no rematch clause stuff, so he's stuck. But maybe a rematch between these two will be a huge fight, huge payday for both of these fighters. So maybe Teofimo considers that, or maybe Teofimo goes up and challenges himself as the premier guy in the league and face Devin Haney. But ultimately, if he can get back to Lomachenko, that's what happens. But I ain't writing Lomachenko off. The media, but this is the problem with media overhyping of Caucasian fighters, is that you leave them to where they have to fulfill, especially when you place the attachments you placed on Lomachenko. Now you kind of erase off all this, the kind of meteoric rise that they gave this dude, the aura that was behind him. All that stuff is gone, it's dead, to where you kind of made this guy look like some type of superhero. Now he becomes humanized, and now that shield that was placed upon him is gone. It's gone now because of the over hyping and what we call whitewashing in the sport. So that stuff has to be dead. It has to be gone. Athletes like Lomachenko should never embrace that kind of crap, because now he gets kicked while he's down. But ultimately, even outside of this loss, Lomachenko's still a threat out there, because it wasn't like he just got his ass whooped. He just got nullified in this game. But going in here, he realized can't be out here trying to fight a pretty fight. Sometimes you got to get in there and bang. And I think Lomachenko will be back. He's still a force out there to be reckoned with. He's just saying what the attachments the media placed on him. They went overboard with that shit. But that's all I got.
Yeah, you're definitely right. I mean, the thing here is that, yeah, I mean, Lomachenko, I mean, when he started, halfway through the fight, when he started really, going at it, doing his traditional angles, wonderful, crisp, beautiful, clean landing jabs. I was thinking, here it goes. Oh my gosh, Tio, you better do something, bro, because he's gonna get at you. He's gonna get at you, and he's gonna take you out. And I actually thought that. I was thinking that round 8, in the later rounds, I was thinking, man, here we go, man. Loma's warmed up. He figured it out. It's game over. I kind of thought that actually. And I was just, the reflections that, Lomachenko has. And when he started really boxing, I was like, wow, man, I definitely respect Lomachenko, man, and his skills. His skills are really, really high, man. Really high skills. Great tools that he has. I mean, I love his footwork. I mean, wow. I mean, you're definitely right, Reggie. I mean, it's not over with Lomachenko. Definitely not. And I do agree with this. This was actually what Kurtis said on Friday when I went live and I was, giving my final thoughts. And I said the same thing, Reggie. I said the same thing that, and that's the cool thing about the platforms. We all coincide in things that are true. You know what I'm saying? And, the thing here is that I think that they kind of overhyped Lomachenko as far as, I understand they calling him Matrix, they're calling him, high tech and stuff like that. I mean, that's great, you know what I'm saying? But I do think they did go overboard. They did go overboard when they were, comparing him with Muhammad Ali and, saying just outlandish things, Bob Arum and Top Rank and things like that. I think they went a little overboard, man. So I think they did, but Loma's still in the game. I mean, call me soft, you know what I'm saying? But I kind of felt bad for Loma after the fight. And just like what you said, Reggie, I mean, it was more than anything, it looked like Teofimo just, brought a game plan to nullify and hack the Matrix. I mean, he went in and he hacked it. He hacked the system. And, like Kurtis said, systematic fighter. And he just, his game plan was really smart. Teofimo's game plan was really smart and unique, man. I did not expect that. I don't think anybody expected that. I think we were all surprised, man. So, Kurtis, what do you think the game plan? I don't know if you mentioned it when I went out for a couple minutes. What do you think Lomachenko's game plan was, Kurtis? Or do you think it was more like Lomachenko's game plan was frustrated?
Yeah, it was. It's like he didn't have a game plan. I'd like to know what it was. The corner was inept. His father's usually pretty good, but I don't think they had many answers for Tio. I really the size, the punching power. Teofimo's style forced them to be the lesser fighter, and that's very interesting. He wasn't
Right.
the more technically gifted fighter. It was everything pointed to Tio, and it seems like he was neutralized before the fight started. Remember, he had to sell out. That's not technique. When you're behind, you're behind, and there's only one way to beat a guy. You have to go straight to him. Kind of like how Leonard did Hearns in the first fight. He had to sell out just to be competitive or try to win the fight. And Tio will always give him a hard time because of that. I don't know if they're going to fight a rematch, but Lomachenko, if his IQ was that high, like everybody says it was, then he would have found a way. He had no way. And Tio's father said the game plan was to put pressure on him and go to his body. And that's what you do to Lomachenko. He punches, you punches, and Tio said they knew that he was going to come on and he was waiting for it. And so Tio's father got the better Lomachenko's father as well, because they had a game plan and they executed that game plan, and it worked, and they put his son, made his son undisputed, or if you got something against him,
Right.
I don't get into that, but I just enjoyed the fight, but I was shocked how much trouble that Lomachenko had. I knew he was having some trouble, but it was like being exposed, because Tio and any fighter that's very athletic, I don't know if Lomachenko can beat him unless they make a ghastly mistake. But it's going to be hard because you got some real good athletic fighters in that division. Maybe he'll go down, and take on some of the guys there. But if you go down, you might meet a Shakur Stevenson. You better get him now, and I don't know, man. I was very surprised at the lack of game planning that Lomachenko, especially a fight of this magnitude, had for Teofimo. They didn't know what to do. Maybe they thought they were just going to blow him away, or the lack of experience was going to show, but it didn't, and they couldn't come back with nothing. I mean, I never seen a superstar fighter land so few punches in like the first 6 or 7 rounds. He got started in 7th round, but the first 5 or 6 rounds, I mean, he couldn't do anything but just back up.
You're definitely right, man. I mean, and the thing here is I mentioned something, in my final thoughts video, live session last Friday, that I said, it's a big possibility. I think it was in that one or my IG live. I don't remember, man. But I did clearly say that, and it's recorded, that, it can be, because we all remember it. We all remember it clearly, with the press conference, and everyone went back to that and everybody righted on it. And I did too. I mean, we all did. That, what, Teofimo's nervous. And I didn't say he was nervous. It can be one of two things in the press conference. Teofimo was probably nervous. Yes. He was probably anxious. Yes. He was antsy. Yes. Or he was probably just bored and he didn't want to go through that whole press conference thing. He just wants to go in the ring and fight. That's all he wants to do. He's antsy. He wants to get in the ring. Maybe it's impatience. But what I did, and everybody was talking about, and I was too, we were all talking about how confident Loma looked. And I did explain this clearly. I said, it can be also that Lomachenko is probably too overconfident. He was and that could work against Lomachenko. He was probably just a little bit too, thinking, what, I'll get this kid out the way. I got enough experience and, I'm going to get this kid out the way. Maybe it was because, you got to think about it because, when, like Kurtis is saying, I've never seen, I've never seen something like this, with the magnitude that Lomachenko has had in his career and, the clout or whatever you want to call it, right? With his skills and stuff like that. I've never seen it. And I was like, whoa. So let me get real quick to the chat, man. Y'all jumping in. Thank you guys so much, man. G5 says that he landed 6 to 8 shots. 6 to 8 shots around until round 7. That was just, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. I'm just perplexed about that, man. Wow. Dalia Fax Reggie, thanks so much, man. As we got here, Briscoe saying, I heard Kurt compare it, the first 5 rounds of Leonard Hagler. Good comparison. Awesome stuff right there, man. Definitely. We got Jay Jills. Salute, fam. Loma didn't lose, man. Loma did not lose. G Funky is in the building. What's going on, family? What's going on? D-Lo is in the building also, man. Y'all jumping in. Thank you guys so much. So we got here G5 continue saying that, responding to Jay Jills, Loma lost not by the margin. The judges had it. Yeah, of course not. Yeah, of course. That's the thing. Like Reggie talked about, I think a moment ago. The scorecard was just, everybody knows about that, man. And but it is what it is, right? I personally do think Teofimo won. But yeah, those scorecards were wow. G5 continue to say every time Loma pivoted, yeah. And that's the thing, G5 here, that, every time Loma pivoted, Teo pivoted with him to stay in front of Loma. Exactly. Very smart plan. We got to give our hats off to Teofimo Sr. Hats off to him. He knew what to do. And he knew what to do. He knew how to, hack the matrix. It is what it is. G-Funk, can you say Loma got desperate and had to sell out? Yeah. But he got hurt he did. And then the body, just imagine those body shots. But, interesting how Lomachenko he was able to take the shots down the pipe, also the hooks, the counters by Teofimo. So Lomachenko took them shots nicely. So Taco Bearstein, can you say here, hey, what's going on, Taco? Lopez was in trouble 2 or 3 times. Yeah, I thought he was about to. Yeah, me too, Taco. I thought the same thing. When Lomachenko was starting to box, I was thinking, Lopez, you're in trouble, buddy. You're in trouble. So I definitely thought that. Let me go down here on the, No Paul Boxianos is in the house. Thank you so much for joining in, family. Thank you guys so much, man. So we got here D'Lo saying, if Loma's IQ was so high, he would. That's the thing, and that's what Kurtis was alluding to right now a moment ago. That that I was that's why we were also, the world was surprised, and a matter of fact, before the same thing that I was talking about earlier, that last Friday when I gave my final thoughts, I said this. I said, I'm expecting a lot from Lomachenko. I'm expecting a lot, and it's for the reasons you guys already know. His extensive amateur career. Blah, blah, blah. You guys already know. Amazing experience. you know, and I was expecting a lot from Loma, but you know, I mean, like what D'Lo's saying here, you know, like if Loma's IQ was so high, he would have neutralized, and I thought he was going to do that, but you know, which shouldn't have landed at ease on a southpaw, exactly. And I don't know, man. It was just a really, really interesting turnout in the fight. Really, really interesting, man. So we got here J Funky responding here. Right, D'Lo boxing. The fight wasn't close, so no need to. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not going to go back and see it again because I mean, I mean, we all saw what we saw. It was quite clear. You know, it was quite clear. Delia continues to say, Queen's here. Queen continues to stay here. If Loma start exactly, you know, if Loma. I personally think if Loma had started doing what he did in round 7 earlier, maybe in round 3, I think Loma would have boxed out Teo, man. He would have really put on a wonderful show, man. But you know, Delia can just say, I think that's what they thought. Right. I thought he would. I thought it personally would if he were to do what he did around round 7 earlier in the fight. But you know, he could blow him away, right? G Funk can just say, no need to even talk about the. Yeah, exactly. Because the right. Yeah, it's not like Loma really won and Lopez got it. Yeah, you're definitely right, G Funky, right on the spot right there, bro. Now this is something else I noticed, you guys. You know, we'll go with Reggie here, and then we'll jump on to Curtis. Did you notice Reggie? I mean, maybe it was just me. I mean, I like to watch bare knuckle fighting. I like to watch that too. I mean, I watch bare knuckle and I compare it. You know, I like to see the strategies in boxing that they use in the squared circle there in BKB, BKFC, and one of the rules there, check this out. One of the rules there in BKFC and bare knuckle fighting, they have a one arm clinch rule where they can clinch with one arm and they can keep punching with the other. Okay. In boxing, I don't think they can do that. I don't think that's permitted from what I remember, at least. And Loma was doing that. Loma was doing that when Lopez would clinch up. I think it was around later in the fight. It looked like Loma was getting frustrated because he was, you know, while Lopez was trying to, you know, clinch up, Lomachenko had the clinch, right, with Lopez, and he was just punching with his left, I think. Just boom, boom. Like, it looked like Lomachenko was getting frustrated. Did you see that, Reggie? Did you think that Loma was getting frustrated later on in the fight?
No, he had to do that. Remember the fight before that was with the Filipino dude versus Vivas. He knocked the guy. He got his first knockdown against the guy out of the clinch, punching him. I think you're supposed to fight through the clinches because sometimes the refs are going to let you work through it. It's up to Teo to protect himself, and Loma was finding success in those. He was finding success in those clinches, and at one point I can't say if Teofimo was buzzed, but Teofimo didn't like getting hit like that. But he's not used to putting his hands up because he kept getting hit a few times in some of those clinches. So I don't think that's something the refs should take away. I think fighters should be allowed to do that. It's up to the other fighters to move their heads off of that side where they're getting hit at. And that's add to where you got to have better head movement, being able to shift your head to the side or bringing the arm up. If that's not the arm being held down, but it was more Teo was doing more of the clinching. I didn't really see Lomachenko clinch too much, but he had to get busy. There was no time for him to let his hands sit still. So if he was able to score inside the clinch, land some big shots to the head in the clinch and try to get broken and loosened and work from there and try to get the kid up out of there. But he was at that point where he had to try to score a knockdown or a knockout. So he had to be busy. So I don't think nothing was wrong with it.
Right. What did you think about that? But before we get to Curtis, Delia, yeah, I know. I should have bet you. I should have. Oh my gosh, I could have used that money for something good. But it's all good. It's all good, Queen. It's all good. Curtis, what did you think of that? You know, when Lomachenko, I personally thought it was, Loma getting kind of frustrated because around the context of those clinches and, Lomachenko sneaking some shots in, and he just kept going, man, throwing those punches on the inside when they were clinched up. And you, around the context of that, you saw them headbutts too. I don't know. I don't think they were intentional, but it looked like I thought Loma was kind of getting frustrated. What do you think about that, Curtis?
Some headbutts were intentional. He was frustrated. He was trying to find something that will work, and using his head as a weapon, that was one of them. Them headbutts were intentional. I truly believe that he had to find a way to swing the momentum on his side. So he was trying to find a desperate measure just to turn the tide of the fight. And even though he was coming on, he felt that he had to do something else. So he didn't hit low, but he he definitely used his head, as a weapon. He disguised it like it was an accident, but that's why Teo's
Right.
face looked like it did, a cut, swollen eye, and what have you. But and plus he was clinching and hitting on the break and hitting, kept rabbit punching. It was very uncharacteristic of Lomachenko, but when you get frustrated, you resort to anything to win the fight. He was trying to, get the momentum on this side by any means necessary. And it didn't work. Teo held court and he finished the fight. Even the last round, he hurt Lomachenko with a left hook, man. So it was a really good fight. But I mean, I done seen fighters, go to desperate measures to win a fight, but it just wasn't enough. It wasn't his night. It was Teo's night, and it turned out like that's why it turned out like that.
And that's the thing. I liked how you worded that, and that's why I think it was frustration, because just for the fact that Lomachenko, it's uncharacteristic of him to fight like that. It's definitely, and I think the same. I think that he was just trying to sneak in those headbutts. I mean, I think he was frustrated, man. He didn't know what to do, and uncharacteristic of him to do that. He's a clean fighter. I mean, Loma's a really clean fighter, you know what I'm saying? And for him to do that, I was thinking, wow, he's going out of his realm. You know what I'm saying? He's going out of his realm. And so let me get to the chat real quick, because I want some other, just couple other points to talk about concerning this, And so we have here Bruce Go saying in the post-fight interview, this is exactly what I want to get into. Loma was talking, he might have won and wanted to watch the fight. I didn't get it. He just lost. Kind of reminds me of who? Lada. It seems like when Lada lost to Hurd, he was saying a lot about, I won the fight. I want to go back. I won the fight. It seems like he just didn't want to accept the loss. I think that's what it is. Bruce goes as far as that. You know what I'm saying? I think he just didn't want to accept the loss. And, it is what it is. There's not going to be a rematch. So, and just like, with the panel saying that, Teofimo is off to bigger, and greater things. So now concerning that with the post press, and what they were talking about as far as Lomachenko, what he was saying, Teofimo, what he was talking about next. Before we get to that, though, I really like Teofimo's mentality and his perspective regarding his undefeated record. He can care less if he loses. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember that, before the fight, it was posted somewhere on social media. I don't remember. I think it was by Top Rank. Posted that he doesn't care if he loses, because and Teofimo talked about yesterday's classic legendary fighters, and he's throwing names out there. He said, what, so and so has losses. Muhammad Ali has several losses, and that didn't define his career. And I really like, and Teofimo was talking about that in the press conference, post fight press conference. He's saying, I don't care. I'll fight anybody. I want to be, undisputed, et cetera, at 140, and just like Curtis says, undisputed. Okay. Kind of controversial there, but whatever. Right. But the point is that Teofimo, he also talked about, he said, I want to fight the best. I want to be like those fighters from, the classic, the legendary fighters. I'm paraphrasing what he said, but he was talking about that. I want to be like them. I want to fight the best. I don't care if I lose. I want to bring them up. You know what I'm saying? Line them up. He didn't say it like that, but that's pretty much what he was talking about. Reggie, do you think that mentality helps Teofimo a lot? Because he's bringing back like old school mentality, man. And I think that's amazing. You don't hear many fighters talking like that. And check this out. Teofimo was saying this also in the press conference, in the post fight press conference, saying things that I've been saying, and it's something that I've been saying along these lines, that I've been saying, that I think that we're going to see a change in the sport of boxing with these young and up and coming prospects and champs, these hungry, young fighters that are coming up. I think we're going to see a transition in the sport of boxing where we're going to see more action-packed, best fighting the best fights. And that's exactly what Teo said. He said, what? And he was putting names out there. And he even said, I can give you guys a whole list of names. And he mentioned Ennis. He mentioned, I think he mentioned Tank Davis. I don't remember, but he mentioned names. And he said, I can give you guys a whole list. And he said, I think that, the sport of boxing, these young fighters, what I'm saying? We're going to come out and we're going to, fight the best out of the best. You know what I'm saying? And what do you think about that mentality, Teofimo, that Reggie's bringing into this the sport of boxing?
I hope so, because I hear a lot of them talk that until they achieve this. And I hope he don't become a prima donna. So I hope he lives up to what he talks. And I think he may be in position to where if it's a Bob Arum, the type person that's holding a person back, he may be in a position where he can strike up his own thing and shift away from having to have a promoter represent him. Now he has a name behind him. Maybe he goes out and do his own thing. If then again, he's too young. I don't think the father is business savvy enough, but they're going to have to push Bob Arum to not do the Bob Arum type thing and represent them in making these big fights. It's time to get the money, make the legendary fighters, and prove himself. I don't want to see him move up to 140 neither. I want to see him defend these titles and go after the other people that hold the belts. Fight the Tank Davis, because I think Tank holds a belt up there. Fight Devin Haney, he holds a belt up there, and see where he goes from there. And I think the thing that makes him such a confident person is his youth, and also coming up under his father. His father talked big shit. So, and the shit his father talks is for him to back it up. So I think that helps him as well, and definitely helped him in this fight. But also going into this thing, I don't think this was a thing of about the IQ thing. I don't think this is a thing of Lomachenko underperforming on IQ. Don't think it was none of that. Just think it was a thing of him having to step into the fire, being that this jab, it was that jab that just changed everything in that fight. It was just for Lomachenko to find a way to get around it. Once he did, he went and he did his thing for the moment. But Teofimo made Lomachenko have to think way longer than he needed to. So I don't think it was a failure in IQ. Just think it was he matched up with a guy who had abilities greater than what he thought this kid was going to come in there with. And the most effective thing Teofimo did was work off that jab. That jab was everything. But that's all I got on that.
Definitely. I definitely agree, man. I hope so. Kurtis, what do you think about, Teofimo, the way he's talking, the way he, he's bringing up the, yesterday's amazing, legendary fighters and fighting the best. Do you think he'll live up to it? I personally think he will, because, he faced Lomachenko, he'd been calling him out for years. He'd been calling him out for a while, man. So what do you think about that, Kurt?
That's true. I want to see when the money start pouring in and the prestige, because that changed a lot of people. Like Reggie said, you don't want him to become a diva, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, because he wanted Lomachenko. He wanted to fight Lomachenko for a while. So that shows me that he was hungry, and I want to see all the young guys fight each other. I think personally they're going to knock each other off, but Teal's going to be an exciting champion. That's, the backflips and the big personality, the punching power. That's what we want to see in the sport of boxing. I'm going to say, yeah. I'm going to say he's going to fight some big names, like you said. He mentioned, names and the legends, and he's a fighter at heart. And I just don't want him to change. So we'll wait and see. I expect him to take, a light touch next, and then after that, go back in there and fight a name fighter. And I want to see how many name fighters he fight, because he's in a high-profile division where a lot of good fighters are at. So we want to see them mix it up. So he has the belts now. So he could call the shots now.
Kurt, do you think that he should stay at 135?
Yeah, if he could make the weight and he don't kill himself, stay at 135. You got some good lucrative matchups. I would love to see him and Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia, whoever that can get negotiate a fight, a high profile fight. You got a lot of fighters there, and then move up to 140. When you move up in weight, it becomes even more dangerous, because you gotta see if your power carries. Getting in the ring with Lomachenko, that's one thing, but getting in the ring with a big guy like Josh Taylor or Ramirez, things start to change and you start to have disadvantages. So if he doesn't have weight problems, stay at 135 for a while, then move up to 140.
So, Reggie, what do you think, man, as far as, and I definitely agree, stay at 135, fight a couple more names there, and then maybe he can move up to 140. He can do, right? It would be interesting to see that. But I still think he should also stay at 135, and Reggie, how do you think, because I don't get into it too, just like Curtis said a moment ago, man. I think he said earlier that, I as it is, man, or I think it was Reggie, I don't remember. As it is, man, I don't, and I've said it time and time again, I really don't pay too much attention, with people, all these belts. It's just so many belts. I definitely respect fighters who, fight, top competition to get the belts. Definitely, of course, you know what I'm saying? And I acknowledge that. I definitely acknowledge it. But, when it comes to this whole, if I'm not mistaken, when Teofimo won, and I actually put it on my Instagram because I was quite emotional. I just put it there, new, undisputed, you know what I'm saying? But we got to understand, Haney has a WBC belt, he's champ at that division also. And so the reason why I say all this is because, Reggie, how do you think a fight would play out between, and this is before we go, how do you think it would play out between Teofimo and Devin Haney?
Man, it's going to be a tough fight. I'm going for Devin Haney, but once again, I ain't going to write the kid off because now see the kid can box. I favor Devin Haney a little bit more. Devin Haney seems to be tactically a little bit sharper, but that's based on the level of opposition. Teofimo them stepped way up, them fought the best dude in the division and had a separated showing. He separated himself versus one of the top dudes in here, who I always also thought would have kind of gave the same prediction as I had and before the fight occurred, even if he was facing Devin Haney. And seeing how Teofimo performed, seeing that Teofimo has a jab, it'll be a tough fight, man. It'll be a very tough fight between him and Devin Haney. And I know they have the experience of sparring each other inside the gym. We'll just have to see. We also have to see how well with the concern with me is seeing that Teofimo doesn't like getting punched in the face. He doesn't respond well, but we got to see how Devin Haney responds to being hit in the face as well. So it's a tough match. Think it's evenly matched. Teofimo's a champion. I got to respect him like a champion too. So I don't know. That one's 50-50 for me. I ain't going to underestimate him. But that's all I got.
Yeah, definitely, man. I think the same. I mean, it's hard to call for me, man. I mean, Curtis, what do you think about that possible Teofimo and Haney matchup?
I had to favor Teo right now. I'm not really overly impressed with Devin Haney. A lot of wasted movement. I just got this hunch that he doesn't take a good shot. I could be wrong, but I just got this feeling in the pit of my stomach. I have to see more. November 7th, you're fighting that faded Gamboa. If Gamboa get himself into shape, and hey, you never know, because the Haney is a young fighter and fighting an experienced fighter. Strange things happen. Teo, with all the young fighters, he's ahead of the curve because he took out an established fighter and Lomachenko.
Yeah.
Well, I would have to say Teo over Haney for right now. Maybe it'll change later. I want to see what happens November 7th with Haney. He hasn't fought anybody, the lack of competition. Now he's fighting a faded fighter. So he's going to really have to show me what he's got, because I'm not overly impressed with Devin Haney moving all around the ring and a lot of wasted movement and hopping around like a kangaroo and all that. You gotta show me something.
Right.
I'm critical of fighters, and I have to see more from Devin Haney.
Yes, I mean, well said, man. I mean, G Funky also can you? Oh, Reggie Owens, did G Funky go back and forth a little bit? Okay, I'm not gonna get into that. Y'all continue. Okay, good. We got G Funky said kind of something along the lines. First, the Queen. She says, yeah, I agree, Delia. I agree. Teo needs to fight Devin to become. I agree. I think they should fight. You know what I'm saying? It would be interesting. And I also agree with G Funky and what Curtis is saying too. That right, Curtis, Haney needs to make a believer out of me. Right. He's done nothing at this point and untested. Yeah. And Teofimo, he definitely gave the example. I mean, he stepped up. He fought. And exactly what Delia is saying here, right? Same here, Reggie. And she continues to say, Teo got heart, though. We saw that. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. He stepped up to the competition, stepped up to somebody who everybody was, praising and applauding, and rightfully so. And he showed up and showed out, did amazing. Now, there's one thing I want to talk about before we go, man. I kind of want to go back to the fight because this is something I wanted to point out and see what you guys thought about it. Did it look like, we'll go with Curtis and then we'll go to Reggie. Did it look like Teofimo? I don't know, man. I don't know if Teofimo should work a little bit more on his stamina. Because towards the end of the fight, when Lomachenko started to box it looked like Teofimo was slowing down a little bit around, I don't remember exactly which round, maybe around 10 and 11. It looked like Teofimo started going down as far as stamina-wise. Did you see that, Kurtis, or was it just me, or I don't know? It kind of looked like he was kind of tiring out.
Yeah, he was fading a little bit, and I started getting worried because I've seen many fights where the guy gets off to a big lead, and then in the second half of the fight, for whatever reason, he starts to fade, and he let his opponent back into the fight. Uh, I don't know. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because this is his first major super fight, but he must tighten up on his defense. I don't like how he was getting hit and the look on his face, and he looked very uncomfortable. And I was like kind of surprised that Lomachenko's punches was having that kind of effect on him. He weathered the storm, but Tio has a lot of heart. But I did think he was getting a little tired, and I think an experienced fighter can handle himself better in later rounds. Remember, this guy is still young, so maybe as his career goes along, he'll do better. But I was getting a little worried though, so it did look like he was fading a bit.
I actually was getting worried too. That this is why I kind of want to bring it up because it looks like he does. Teofimo, he does have a couple things to work on. Fighting a top-notch caliber fighter like Lomachenko, definitely, and it brought a couple weaknesses out, and I think that's the same. I think the same as Kurtis, in that respect, that it looked like Teofimo was kind of gassing out a little bit, and looked kind of uncomfortable with the shots that were getting landed on him, And interesting thing here, Chicano Prophet Salute family, he says, "I give Haney a break." Yeah, he says something interesting here. Yeah, he inherited a belt, but he's only 21. Good points. Very good point. Not as embarrassing as other more hyped. Good point, man. Good point. So, yeah, we got to be patient on Haney. You know what I'm saying? He's still young. We'll see what's next for him. We'll see how he fights against Gamboa, I guess, right? Even though, it's a controversial opponent, I guess. But, let's be patient with Haney. Definitely, man. I agree. What do you think about that, Reggie? Do you think that Teofimo was kind of tiring out towards the end?
Yeah, I think he did have a gassing moment. But he did catch I believe he did catch a second win, but that's something that road work. That's something he can work on in camp, and also maintaining weight, discipline outside of a scheduled fight. So that's one thing as a champion, he's going to have to start really taking on that lifestyle of a fighter, adopt what is the real essentials of what Floyd Mayweather was. Not that crap that other people try to throw out there about Floyd, but adapt the real essence into what really created Floyd into being what Floyd is. And that's the discipline outside of the ring. Maintaining that way the lungs are conditioned, the body is conditioned, and also just putting in the extra work, even while he's not in the fight. Getting up every morning, every other day, going out there, hitting the road, just running. Because fighters have to live the life of track stars. You do what the track athletes do. Get out there, run, maintain that weight, keep it to where it needs to be. So that way, his thing, if along with these skills he has and having the having that cardio conditioning, it'll carry him a long way. It'll carry him a real long way. So that's something he survived it, but that's something when he goes back to review everything, seeing that as a flaw going into this fight. Even you got to always search for the things like being very critical of yourself, because otherwise, if you just accept like, oh, A+, and you just gonna go into the next thing like that, you run into someone who ends up defeating you because you didn't clean up the one thing that was essential, and the gas is everything. So him just maintaining that certain aspect outside the ring will carry him a long way. Just weight conditioning. That's the other problem with a lot of other athletes, but especially these other kids he's moving up with, they seem to be disciplined as far as weight and not blowing up too much. So I think it's something easy he can fix going into another fight, and that's just keeping the conditioning in check. He's a champion, so he should value what he has. But that's all I got on that.
Interestingly, this is Teofimo did mention in the post fight. Stay Ready Boxing TV. I just saw him jump in the building. What's good? It's good, family. What's going on, family? Y'all go subscribe to Stay Ready Boxing TV. Definitely, man. Family right there. Thanks so much, man, for tuning in, bro. Something that Teofimo did mention in the post fight press conference, he said that he's gonna get it. He's getting a house built. With his wife. Plans to have a family. Blessings to their family. Blessings to him and his wife and potential family, right? And he was talking about getting a house built, getting a new house built and stuff like that. Congrats to him. And he was talking about getting a home gym. So I think that's gonna really help him improve on his stamina. He was talking about now he can train from home with this whole pandemic stuff and whatever, right? Blocking opportunities with fighters openly going to gyms, the past few months or whatever, right? But so we'll probably see improvement concerning that. Yeah, and I did see he was kind of gassing out a little bit towards the end of the fight. Some things he should work on, right? But definitely good stuff. Just to let you guys know, Kurtis Anderson just left because he had a phone call to take, and we're at the end of the show anyway. So Reggie Owens, man, definitely stay ready. Thanks so much, family, for jumping in. We're at the end of it. You can go back and listen. Stay ready if you missed some of it. So Reggie Owens, where can they find you, bro? And thank you. Go ahead and give the last words, man.
Oh, yes, indeed, man. Great coming on here with you, man. Oh, I want to cover that one last aspect, but y'all can catch me over at Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens on my main channel and also my backup. And I got the two channels because I drop a lot of controversial stuff that violates the guidelines of YouTube. And I constantly don't change up what I do. So I tend to get 2 and 3 strikes on my channel. So that's why I have a backup channel. So I think I'll be back up and running Monday on my main channel. But once again, I'm all about content. So regardless of what strikes I get, how it takes down my page, I can always start from scratch and build stuff up. My thing is about the content. It's all about the context and what I put out. So it ain't about the numbers. I know people be telling me, man, calm down. You got all these subscribers. It ain't about that for me. I'll clean up some things where I don't buy it, but that's where you can catch me at. But the one thing I didn't want to leave out here with, I just wanted to bring up the whole aspects of what is needed and changes in the sport. And that's dealing with the questions regarding a lot of these refs. And that's the one over in the UK where they find there was a controversial decision in that Renson versus Vasquez fight. And then where they catch the dang ref up there in his cell, up in his phone, not paying attention to the fight. You also draw in the question with Letterman's daughter. What's her name? Julie Letterman. Her scorecard and the Vasyl Lomachenko Teofimo fight. Drawing in the question about that scorecard. What are these judges doing? Are they really paying attention? And that has always been thrown out. I know we joke about it a lot. Like, are they looking at the ring girls? Are they just too old and falling asleep? And these things have to be considered. And also where referees are being positioned with all the controversies, because it's wrong for fighters to dedicate themselves for these, 8 to 10 week camps, 12-week camps, sometimes being away from the family, giving their all, busting their asses, trying to climb up in the ranks, trying to win championships, all to have that taken away from some clown judge who we don't know if they're being paid off. They're not paying attention, things like that. But to watch that ref, and I see Eddie Hearn and them trying to make a move to have that referee banned from the sport. Being he's in the middle of action, they catch him in his cell phone, watching whatever the hell he's in his cell phone. When they look at the scorecard is just wide as hell. In a fight that most people from the UK thought their hometown cat lost his main event fight. Also, the fighter out the UFC had a UFC fighter the other day who was given a victory. And he even calling out the judges on it, that he thought the victory for himself was bullshit. He felt he didn't win that fight. He felt the other opponent should have won that fight. And these are the things that need to be addressed. These judges ought to be placed under a more powerful microscope. They have to be looked deeply at, because they're costing a lot of these fighters a lot of money and their health, putting their health at risk in these fights. But that's all I had on that one.
Judges definitely need to get checked, and referees. Matter of fact, in our series we have going, you know what I'm saying? We'll be getting back to it soon, definitely, family. We'll be definitely getting back to it soon as far as the series boxing then and now. We finished part 7 with the OG Stormy B, Kurtis Anderson, and Reggie Owens. We're gonna definitely get back to that. I just been busy with school and stuff like that, man. So, but definitely, I plan to get back to that. But in one of those shows, we dedicated on judges. We talked in depth. Reggie was talking about that also. Judges got to get checked, man. And we go back recently also with Rolly, right? And Marinez. I mean, just crazy stuff. So, I mean, you're definitely right, Reggie. So remember, y'all, go follow Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens. Right there, you see it in the chat, right? And Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens 2. That's his backup channel. Kurtis Anderson had to leave for the phone call. Thank you so much, Kurtis. I'm sure you're hearing or tuning in, or you will tune in at the last part of the show. Kurtis Anderson, thank you so much, the historian. You can go find him on Thursday nights with Three Wise Men on Stormy B's channel. Definitely amazing show, man. So much knowledge there. Every time I hear that show, it makes me want to just go and watch an old fight. I mean, definitely, man. So yeah, thank you guys so much, man. Yeah, Dalia, nobody's getting the notifications. I don't know why, man. It's tripping. It's crazy. I don't know what's going on with YouTube, but definitely, man. Thank you so much, Reggie Owens, for being here. Thank you so much, everybody who's in the chat. G Funky, all you guys, man. Chicano Prophet, thank you guys so much, man. Soccer Training Club, all you guys, everybody who jumped in, thank you so much, man. And till the next one, we are out, man. Have a wonderful, safe day and week, and take care of you guys. Thank you so much, Reggie. Reggie, can you just wait a couple seconds, all right? Hold on, just one.
All right.